Alright, this one's about Betty Sue and Johnny. Okay? They're getting hitched. Johnny sat down on his bed. He started to get ready for the wedding when his pa walked in. Pa bounds into the room, sits down next to Johnny and says to him, "You know, tonight, you's finally gonna get yourself some. How's about a little competition?" Johnny thought about it for a little bit, and he replied, "Sure, why not, Pa?" Well, Pa says, "Well, every time you get yourself some, put a mark on the wall over there by the light switch, and we'll compare in the morning." Okay, I guess this is what men do. The wedding goes off without a hitch, pun intended. No one gets shot. Dogs make it off with most of the cake, as per usual. But later that night, Johnny and Betty Sue, they went on upstairs to their room. As they walked by the bathroom, Pa's standing there, and he gives Johnny a knowing wink. After getting into the bedroom, they consummate their marriage. Johnny gets up from the bed, walks over to the wall, puts a little mark next to the light switch. Then the newlyweds, they went to sleep for a few hours, just a couple, because then they woke up feeling frisky again. Newlyweds, right? So after all that, Johnny crawls over to the wall by the light switch. There's another mark. I mean, at this point, he can barely reach up, okay? The lovebirds fall asleep again. Early in the morning, Betty Sue's feeling it again. She takes advantage of the situation, like any newlywed. Johnny is so worn out, he can barely move. So he tells Betty Sue, "Go over and put a mark on that wall for me, please." So Betty Sue, she does it. Next morning, Betty Sue leaves her sleeping husband and goes down to help her new mother-in-law with breakfast. A few minutes later, Paul comes bouncing into the room all full of energy, plops himself down on the bed next to Johnny and asks, "Well, how'd you do?" Johnny can barely pick up his arm at this point, and he just stares at the light switch, which had 3 marks on it. Paul looks at his son, looks back at that wall. His eyes get so wide. He says, 111? Dang, you beat me by 13.